Assalamu alaikum all. Today I'm going to be talking about the best app to learn vocabulary, which is Anki. And if you need to learn new words or vocabulary or anything like that, this app is super useful and it's very popular within the language learning community, and I'm going to explain how I use it myself. Welcome. On this channel I share my journey learning languages as a Muslim. So what is Anki? Now, it's a really popular app. If you look online, you see a lot of people talk about it, especially within the language learning sort of community. Also, I know it's really big within like people becoming doctors and things like that, because they need to learn a lot of facts and things like that, and they need to memorize a lot of stuff. So it's very popular for them as well. And what essentially Anki is that it allows you to create your own flashcards. So you create these flashcards and you kind of, test yourself regularly. What's so good about it? Now, this app is like absolutely amazing because of some of the built-in features that it has automatically that you don't have to really kind of think about that much. And the main thing is that it automatically uses the best study habits from the Make It Stick book. Although the Make It Stick book didn't kind of create these study methods itself, but it kind of like brought to the fore about these sort of particular study methods. And I have a link to the book in the description below, so if you want to check it out, it's a really super popular book used by a lot of people that kind of want to learn something, and definitely applies a lot to language learners. Number one, the main study habit it talks about is active recall, which is just the practice of just testing yourself regularly. And I've did a video about active recall that you can see a link to at the top, and it's just about, rather than just writing notes and highlighting things and doing stuff like that, is that you kind of almost writing questions or flashcards and you're just testing yourself regularly, and that kind of enables the learning to be more active, and you're kind of engaging your brain more, you're building those connections, and the more you do it, the better it is. The second study habit is space-based repetition. Now, what this basically means is that when you have flashcards, like how often you see a particular flashcard depends on how difficult you found it. So if it's a flashcard that was quite easy, for example, say I speak with je parle, that's something I know quite easily. But maybe you speak is something that I might be struggling a bit with, so that might pop up. So tu parles, that might just pop up more regularly. So that's a really simple example, but just to explain how it works. And then what happens is, like, things that you know really well, they kind of, it increases the space between how long that card then pops up again. And people have like loads and loads of cards. I mean, like hundreds and thousands of cards within Anki. And definitely start small, don't get overwhelmed. And what I've done, and initially it took me a while just to kind of get used to it. The next thing I want to explain is, what about Duo Lingo? Now, a lot of people know that I love Duo Lingo. I use it a lot. I pretty much use it every day. I've got a streak of about 260 days at the moment. I've had like a few days where I had to miss, but Duo Lingo kind of lets you off, gives you like a streak freeze. And, it's still the best thing to use. Like, if you want to learn a language and you're just starting out and you want to get into it, and even if you're more advanced, it's a really good thing to have, just to do every day, just to regularly kind of do it, because it has amazing like sort of course material, and it's a good way to learn stuff. And Duo Lingo itself kind of uses these things such as space-based repetition and active recall, because it kind of gives you questions and you're constantly kind of testing yourself. So yeah, Duo Lingo is definitely my first port of call. Which then brings the question of, why do I use Anki? Now, the reason why I use Anki is for learning things that I'm specifically interested in. So, for example, my online tutor, he'll give me certain things to kind of practice and use, or certain phrases that I want to know. Now, in Duolingo, it just might not be in Duolingo, or I haven't reached that point. But if there's something that I'm really interested that I want to learn, then I could create a deck. So within Anki, create decks, create a bunch of cards, and I can then sort of practice them. So another thing I want to say is that, I'm learning Bengali as well. I kind of know Bengali because it's like my mother tongue, but there's things like the certain numbers, especially get to high numbers, the 30s and 40s and things like that, I need to kind of improve. I kind of know. So I'm using Anki to help me learn that. And another cool thing with Anki is, like, you could put audio files, you could put images, anything. So your flashcards can contain a whole bunch of stuff. And what I'd like to show you now is my Anki setup. Okay, so this is my Anki setup, as you can see. So I've got a bunch of different decks. So for example, I've got like a big parent deck, which has like my deck for 30s and 20 numbers and things like that. And just to quickly show you, if you click on this deck and I click on study now, I can then study different cards. And you can press enter to see if you know it or not. And then I could say, if it was at the bottom, I could say if it was hard, easy or good. I could say, yeah, that was good. Then we'll get onto the next one. So my card's a little bit kind of unformatted. Well, I can press enter. I see it gives me the audio as well, so I know what this thing is about. And then, like, this is how I can kind of learn Bengali numbers, and it will pop them up. And like, if I find it really easy, the card will pop up more regularly. Like, here it goes. If it's hard, then it'll pop up in under 6 minutes. If it's quite good, then it'll pop up under 10 minutes. So these are, if it's really easy, then it'll pop up in 3 days. So it just kind of shows you how it works. These are my French ones. I could practice everything underneath here. So all these sort of decks, or I could practice individual sections. So for example, I'm doing modal verbs. I just want to practice that. So you want formal. How do I say that? That is to. So if it's formal, so it'll be vous voulez, I think. Vous voulez, yeah, there you go, I was right. So I could say, yeah, that was quite good. I wouldn't say it was super easy. We want, which in the feminine version, so it would be elles voulaient, elles voulons. Okay. Oh, nous voulons. So it's formal, we want, nous voulons. Okay, so I got that one wrong. So I probably said that's quite hard. So it pop up again in 6 minutes. So that's basically how it works. I'll show you how you create a new deck. So say if I want to create a new deck, you just click on create deck. And then I'm just going to delete that. I'm just going to say test deck. So my test deck is here. Click on it. It says congratulations because I don't have any cards at the moment. I just click on add. I use the basic and reverse card. So that means it will do a card with the front. So it will show me. So if I say je pense, so I think, like I say, I think it will create 2 cards. One for this at the front. And then I have to remember that means I think. Another one, it'll have the English verse. And then I need to do the French. I kind of like doing that. But you could also have just a basic card as well. Basic optional reverse card, so you don't have to have a reverse. You could make it so you have to type the answer, but yeah, just keep it as this for now. Just keep it really simple. Yep, so on the front I've got je pense, and then the back is I think. So I then click on add, and that card gets added. And if I close this now, you see it's got 2 new cards because it's created that one. And now if I go je pense, that means I think. Yep, that was quite easy. So I'll go in 3 days, and then it gives me the English now. I say I think, which is je pense. So you could do it in both opposites always. And that's it really. And you could just check it every day. And they've got an app that you can actually buy for the iPhone. For Android, I believe it's free, but you could also just do it on the computer. And yeah. Yep. And I'd also like to just have a link in the description to a video that I love about Anki. So feel free to check that out. It kind of really helped me kind of get into the mode of Anki. But I just want to say thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, also check out my other video where I talk about using active recall for language learning.